Okay, I just wanted to present a little something. I know there are a lot of people out there looking for guidance for college, and a lot of schools are shut down. A lot of career services departments are shut down. So I'm going to pretty much show you how you can be your own college career services by accessing a few publicly available websites. So the first one is College Navigator, posted by the Department of Education, and all you have to do is just click, through their menu, and you can find a lot of different options in terms of fields that you might be interested in. So if you're interested in something like engineering, you can just like narrow everything down to mechanical engineering. Then once you choose that, you can just press show results, and it'll show you every single college in America that has a mechanical engineering program. And so just, choose one of the options. And once you choose one of the options, you can see like all the different programs that they have and how many people graduate from each program. So in this instance, you have mechanical engineering, and 110 people graduate with a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering. But you can also search for more information that they have. You can search for things like tuition and see how much it costs to actually attend that college. Now, this is very important information you want to know before you apply to a college, and see what the basic profile of a college is. You might want to compare this to other universities and other colleges, but if you go through clicking every single college, it's going to take a really, really long time. So one thing I can show you, like a quick trick that I did, was actually to use a feature on the website and to export some of those details into a CSV file, which is pretty much like an Excel file. You can open up in Microsoft Excel or any kind of spreadsheet program. And what you'll see once that downloads is that you'll get a complete list of colleges. In this case, these are the colleges that have mechanical engineering programs, and you have a list of probably like 500 colleges or so. But this isn't the end of it. Excuse me. This isn't the end of it. You can have more details on here, but you can see this isn't all the information. You might want to add more detail, like all the information that you saw when you start clicking through, and how many people were graduating per each individual discipline or each different field, like mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, industrial engineering, etc. You can access a thing called Colab by Google, and that's what I did. I wrote like a short Python script, and it basically read in the whole website using this, these libraries that they have available, and you just read in the different tags for the HTML. And what you can essentially do is you can export all the results, and you can basically export into a new CSV file. So that'll give you like this huge CSV file that uses the previous CSV file as an index, and now you have this really, really huge spreadsheet that you can read in through a program like Power BI. So once you get the information in Power BI, you can look at things like net price, and you can look at something like dance bachelor. So if you want to get a bachelor's in dance, you can see all the universities over here. And as you see, the darker the color is, the more graduates you have for each individual college, and the larger the bubble is, the more you have to pay. So as you hover around different areas, like if you go to like the San Antonio area, you can see that, or even the El Paso area, you can see that, okay, you have 7 graduates, it's a small bubble, so you don't have too many people graduate. Well, you have, it's a cheaper college, you don't have too many, doesn't cost as much, and it's not that dark, so you don't have too many people graduating each individual college. And you can just see a good overview of all these different colleges without having to click on each individual choice. So this is a really good way if you want to just explore different details about even like what's the percentage of full-time students, what's the percentage of international students, what's the percentage of anything, basically. How many number of like nursing students do you have? How many education students do you have? How many engineering students do you have? And so this is a good way just to have just a dashboard, pretty much, that will allow you to select and view all the pertinent details you want to at a grand overview, instead of just clicking through every single university. And you can do things like, let's say you want to check out the graduation rate, you want to check out the net price. So this is pretty much like the tuition, and you have the graduation rate. So this is something that you might want to look at if you want to say, okay, I want to go to a university, and I want to go to a university that actually I have a good chance of graduating, or a lot of people graduate this university or finish the university, and I don't want to pay too much for a degree. So it's essentially saying I want to make sure that I don't pay too much and be assured that I'll pass, or it has a culture of passing. So as you can see, there are varying different sizes of the bubbles, and that just basically means how much you're going to pay. The smaller the bubble, the smaller you're going to pay, and the color, once it's darker, it says that you have a higher graduation rate. And there's a pretty good correlation. The bigger the bubble, usually, another way to put it, the bigger the bubble, the darker the bubble. That's just saying for schools that have a high graduation rate, they usually cost a little bit more. And schools that don't cost as much have a lower graduation rate. But you can see there are a few discrepancies. Like in Florida, you have two colleges that really graduate a lot of people and don't cost that much: the University of Florida and University of South Florida. So Florida's doing something right. They have a few very, very good quality universities that are able to graduate a lot of people who apparently take college seriously, like the University of Florida, with 90% graduation rate, and it only costs about $11,000 in tuition. So one of the things you can do with that information, that's part of it, right? That'll decide where you would likely want to go to school, but there's also another factor involved. You might want to consider, okay, now, once you graduate from that school, where could you end up? So let's take a look at another university. Let's take a look at something like the University of Pennsylvania. And it's going to take a little bit of time to scroll over because this is a huge file. I could have just shortened the file and just taken the pertinent information, but I listed every single major, so it's taking a little while to load because my computer is a little bit slow. But once you scroll over, we're in Delaware. We're getting close to Philadelphia. You hover over, you see what you have. You have Philadelphia, you have University of Pennsylvania, 95% graduation rate, and it's $26,000 a year. So you might want to say, okay, I'm willing to fork over $26,000 a year minus, let's say, some scholarship, whatever. So you can go to the Career Services Department, and they have these things called outcomes. So the outcomes will basically tell you, like, these surveys that they give the students in each individual college. So you might check out the engineering college, and it'll show you what happens to the students after they graduate. So this says that, let me just scroll up a little bit more. This says that 72% receive full-time employment, and only 3% do not have a job after graduation. So that's relatively good. So out of all the people who graduate from the engineering college, only 3% don't find employment. And you can see where they get employed. There are a lot of the big name companies like McKinsey, the who's who of everything, like Google, Microsoft, etc. And you can see also where they end up after employment. Since we're in Pennsylvania, they end up getting moved all the way to the West Coast, to California, to New York, in the financial sector, in the tech sector. And let's look at Florida. So let's look at the University of Florida and let's compare the results where we saw the University of Florida, who had a graduation rate of 90%, and see how that compares to the University of Pennsylvania. And remember, we're talking about $26,000 in tuition versus about $11,000 in tuition. So we just come on here to the University of Florida Outcomes website. We apply this and only apply it to engineering. And let's see, we had 3% at Pennsylvania. Now we have 14% of the engineering graduates do not receive employment. So you have a small tick up. So let's see, 69% of the people stay within the state of Florida. So as you can see, University of Florida graduates don't really go out as far and don't have as much as demand across the nation as University of Pennsylvania graduates. So you have a pretty good comparison.